Imagine a life where you break free from the shackles of certainty and step into a world of endless possibilities. That's what I did, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you and the world in my chapter of the book Beyond Certainty. And today, in this episode, I want to give you a little peek into what's inside my chapter so you can get inspired and start taking action into stepping into the known today. Welcome to Living Intentionally, the podcast that empowers driven women to get unstuck and to take their personal and professional lives to the next level. I'm your host, Carmen Benton. I am here to help you create the life you truly desire without burning out. And as a leading expert in living with amplified alignment between your mind, your energy, and your soul purpose, I'll be sharing valuable insights on mindset, energy, self-care, business, and much more. Plus, you get to hear from inspired women who have successfully built businesses and lives that are both meaningful and fulfilling. Join us as we dive into the topic that matter most and uncover the secrets to living intentional. Today, it's such an amazing day because tomorrow, August 24th, is when the book Beyond Certainty goes live in Amazon. And I would love for you to get it. Not only because my chapter is there, is the second chapter of the book, which is a whole amazing thing because 2 is my favorite number. It's also my birthday. So that was totally manifested. I did not request it. It just happened that way. But also, you've heard the stories of Dragonfly and Brittany in the 2 episodes before. And those are just 2 of the amazing chapters in the book. And now you're going to hear a little bit about my chapter. And so I hope my expectation with this, with sharing this with you, with writing this chapter in this book, it's to empower you, to get the courage inside of you, to take the jump, to go and pursue in life the things that you're called to do, even if they are scary. Because let me tell you something, amazingness is what happens on the other side of scary. And so what I did unknowingly, in order to prepare myself to take this big, huge jump that I did, which was quitting my corporate career after I have reached the pinnacle of it and making multiple 6 figures, was to ask myself 5 questions. And that's what I want to share with you today. What are those 5 questions that help me get through the process from freaking out about being uncomfortable with the unknown to taking that leap? So let's start by acknowledging that every leap, every major decision you're going to take in your life has an origin. And the origin of your story happened for a reason, right? How did you grow up? What traumas you acquire along the way? Which people, which places, which circumstances mold you and created the amazing person that you are today? And you might be thinking, oh, I'm not that amazing. But when you look from the creator's point of view, from bird's eye point of view, 30,000 feet looking down, you will realize that everything in your life has been perfectly orchestrated for you to be right here in this moment with all the skills, with all the experiences, with all the love and pain you might have today. For me, was that realization that I was an Enneagram 8 for a reason. If you don't know much about Enneagram, it's a personality trait that's really formed out of how do you cope with the world, with your traumas. And so the Enneagram 8 is the challenger and the protector. And that's what all my traumas made me become for a reason. But then, regardless of your origin, there is a point in your life where you have an awakening moment, right? I call it the awakening mini chapter in my chapter. And this is where you wake up one day and you realize, holy smokes, I cannot keep going this direction. I have to do something different. And I tell you my story, my awakening moment in the chapter. And I'm not going to spoil it because I literally pour out my heart to you on what happened. And what was that thing that is not what you would think, actually? It wasn't that obvious. But what was that thing that really shook me in my core, in my heart, that made me realize, okay, Carmen, it's time to go do something different today or in the future. And so from there is where these questions started bubbling inside me, but I didn't have them quite figured out yet. So I was preparing to take this leap. I was unleashing the power within myself with self love and acceptance. And this is where I remember I said, well, I'm going to write a book about self love. I don't know why that came to me. Well, now I know why it came to me. Is because that's the way I heal myself. First and foremost was by allowing self compassion, acceptance, and self love. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And it was through writing this book that I opened up wounds in me that I didn't even know existed. So the book itself didn't heal me, but it shined a light on things that I needed to be more vulnerable about, on things that I needed to make sure I rely on my strength to overcome and everything in between. And after I did that work, which was, at the beginning of the year in which my entire transformation happened, I then was open to new teachers, to new opportunities, because I have raised my vibration. I have come to a place of knowledge and an energy that I have never experienced before. And so was after this point that I say, I am meant to do so much more in this world. Being here, sitting in an office is not what my calling is. I have never been. I have been coaching and healing people in the closet for 20 years. And it was time for me to step out of the shadows into the world like I am today. So I sat down and I said, okay, well, how do I do this? How do I leave this job that is providing for me and my family? How do I just build this bridge that doesn't exist right now? Because I can see myself in the now and I can see myself in the future. And this is what happens to a lot of you, but you don't know how to get there. And I didn't know how to build that bridge. And so through mindfulness, a lot of meditation, a lot of quiet time, a lot of just listening to the messages that were coming to me, there were 5 questions that came to me. And I am not going to reveal them all because that is actually the process and the core of my chapter in the book. But I'm going to tell you about the first one, right? The first question, I bet you have had many times in your life. What if I fail? It's the first thing that came to mind. What if I fail? And thankfully enough, at that point in my life, I have acquired enough tools when it came to mindset and shifting the way I think and my energy imprints with everything I do, that I took that question and flip it on the sides and reframe it to, what if I succeed? So from that point forward, I never contemplated the possibility of failure, but I endure and savor and dreamed about the possibility of succeeding. And that simple shift in perspective literally like released so much weight of uncertainty in my life. And it opened my eyes to the what if in a whole different way. So I talk more about these particular questions and another 4 in the chapter. And this is really the process, the how to go from uncertainty and freaking out about it to like going all for it. So that's what you want to be able to read about. But then you go through the process and you're like, okay, I jumped. So how do I land? What do I do in that new identity of that new person that I have never been, right? And stepping into the unknown is really an accelerating thing. And the only thing I can relate it to with examples of my own life is to bungee jumping. And I talk about this in the book of how, I did that at the age of 22. Don't recommend it, but I did it. And, you jump with so much faith that core is not going to break. And then just when you think you're going to die, you don't. And at that point, you realize that the worst has passed and there's only one thing to do. And it's to enjoy the beautiful view that you have around you. And that only comes with surrendering of expectations, surrendering of negative thoughts, surrendering of all the programming that you have created, accumulated, and reaffirmed in your life. So today I want to challenge you to take a moment to reflect on your own journey and ask you this question. Are you standing on the edge of uncertainty, hesitating to take that leap? I know some of you like hold to the edges of the cliff, like your life depends on it. But have you thought that there's more on the other side? There's more life in the other side than just hanging there. I want to invite you to embrace the courage to jump. It doesn't have to be a big jump. What about a little jump? How can you jump today and discover the greatness that awaits you on the other side? You have the power to create a life beyond certainty, filled with purpose and fulfillment. I have to pinch myself every day to realize that this is what I get to do now. I get to do me. I get to serve. I get to help. And that is priceless. That is the most amazing thing I could even dream of. And so if you have any questions about the specifics of the jump, after you get the book tomorrow, August 24th, and it's not a secret that me and the other authors would love to become a bestseller author, right? And for that, we need your help, which is to get the book between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, August 24th. It's very, very, very important. And once you do that and read the chapter, it's only 3,000 words. You can read it like in an hour or less. If you have any questions, let's chat about it. I can help you plan your jump. I've done it, and I've done it for my clients as well. How do you transition in relationships? How you transition in work? How you transition careers? How you transition to a business? How do you transition to your higher purpose self? So let's chat. You know how to reach me. It's at book.carmenbenton.com. And I will be honored to support you in this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. And for those of you who actually get the book at that window that we're talking about, all the authors have put together amazing gifts of value that is unprecedented. So I'm going to leave the link below this video so you can access those gifts when you purchase the book in Kindle. It's $1.88, and you're going to get so much for that. Plus, you get to help me and my beautiful co-authors as well. So I'll see you next week, and I can't wait to hear what you think of the book and my chapter. Bye-bye. Hey there. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of Living Intentionally, the podcast where we explore ways to live with purpose and fulfillment. If you're new here, make sure to hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can find me on Instagram, and TikTok at the Carmen Benton. I'm your host, Carmen Benton. I'll be back next week with more insights and inspiration.